live on the air. I'm Richard Sales.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Sale. Can you believe we are almost halfway through November already? Next week is Thanksgiving games, and we're getting to the best part. December football, and then January football, and pretty soon the big game. We got a lot to get into today. We got Week 9 recapping with Rich, or Week 10, my fault. And then we got Week 11 picks. So this is, for our new members of the audience, this is like the usual after a week. I give the recaps of the games. I give my picks the week after. Last week was a little different, okay? That was more of an interview format where I bring a guest in and I have questions that carry pretty good amount of the show. So that's another way we do Lounge Time here. So just for new members joining, it's okay. I have no problem explaining how we do things, but let's get into the recapping with Rich, okay? All right, so Falcons and the Panthers, let's open up with. Now, I really didn't watch this game. I didn't really have a crazy interest in watching this game, okay? I heard that it was supposed to be rainy and very sloppy weather, but I don't think it ended up being that way. It might have been just rain, but I don't think it was like monsoon rainstorm, okay? But let's get to the game. Marcus Mariota was okay. The run game by committee did good. 5.5 a carry. Drake London, Hodge had a receiving touchdown each. Demir Bird had 3 catches for 58 yards. But the offensive line really was the big story of the day. They gave up 5 sacks allowed. Like I said, right now about this point, you know what kind of teams are. Okay? I think it's clear what Atlanta is. They're a running football team. They're not going to throw the ball because they're not going to put the ball in Mariota's hands unless he's designed runs or options, stuff like that. Okay? They've got their running game with Patterson, Allegier, Caleb Huntley. They basically are just a running football team. Defense gave up 25 points. They got 1 sack, no takeaways, however. So they didn't play that great either. 3 of 11 on third down. That was horrible. Okay, that's horrible. 1 of 2 in the red zone. When you're 2 possessions, you could say one could go the other way, stuff like that. But bottom line is it was a two-score game. They turned the ball over once. They got some stuff to clean up, but they're lucky they got now a 10-day bye week, essentially, to get stuff in order. Which brings me to the Panthers. Now, a quick side note, Baker Mayfield is starting Sunday against the Ravens instead of P.J. Walker. I think it's because P.J. Walker got hurt or he didn't play well, one of the two, but Baker Mayfield is starting Sunday for the Panthers. But let's get to the Panthers on last Thursday night's game. Deontay Foreman, 31 carries, 130 yards, and a touchdown. I know they were going to go by a committee once Christian McCaffrey got traded, but I think right now, Foreman might be the lead back early. I know Hubbard's injured. He has a little bit of speed that they like, but I think Foreman looks like the number 1 bell cow that they're going to have maybe for the rest of the season. But when Hubbard comes back, they could go by committee. But clearly, it looks like Deontay Foreman is the number 1 back there. Shenault had a 41-yard rushing touchdown. Defense gave up 15. They had 5 sacks. J.C. Horn had an interception. But 10 penalties. They got to clean this shit up. And it's crazy to think that the The Panthers almost swept the Falcons had it not been for DJ Moore's penalty. We could be seriously saying the Panthers might be ahead of Atlanta when they just fired Matt Rule, week 5? But they won this game and they're still trailing the Falcons in the division. But just sit back and think this for a minute. Imagine if DJ Moore doesn't get that penalty when these two teams versed what would be 3 weeks ago. We could be having a very different outlook on the NFC South. The Panthers would be ahead of Atlanta if they won that game. Crazy to believe, right? Yeah. So, but they got some stuff they'll clean up. 10 penalties is a lot, so they got 10 days to get their stuff together for the Ravens on Sunday. Seahawks and the Bucs. This game I actually did watch, okay? I wasn't interested in the Broncos Jaguars when it was in London. I did actually watch Giants Packers in week 5. That was also in London. This one, though, I wanted to watch, although this was in Germany, not London. And then we're going to get to another game in the picks that's in Mexico City. But let's get to the Seahawks and Bucs in Germany. Geno Smith was okay. He started out slow, but when the fourth quarter came, he heated up just a little too late. And we're going to talk about one turnover he had in the game that was essentially the difference in the ball game. But he 23-33, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. He just waited too late to get rolling, okay? Run game, absolute no-show. Granted, because the Bucs are a top run defense in the league. Tyler Lockett, Marquise Goodwin had a touchdown each. Offensive line shaky, 3 sacks allowed. Defense gave up 21. They didn't get any sacks. They got 1 quarterback hit on the day. 1 on Tom Brady. But that's because he's getting rid of the ball quick, and he knows he's got a weak interior offensive line. But Seattle's pass rush, I have questions about that still. If they're going to make a playoff run, I just don't know who's the guy that everybody says, we got to account for him, like other teams have. I don't think Seattle has that. They got 2 interceptions. Geno Smith fumbled. They were going in. It was third quarter. I remember this. I think it was 14-3 at this point. Something along those lines. I think it ended up being 21-16. But I believe it was 14-0, 14-3, something like that. He fumbled going in. He fumbled the ball going in. And you lost by 5. Those missed opportunities are the difference in the game. I'm telling you guys, we don't look at it, live because there's still game and you think, okay, there's a chance to, kind of brush that off. But after the game's over, there's signs where you're like, that drive could have been something different had we not turned it over here. Okay? I'm telling you guys, missed opportunities are a big thing in why teams win or lose games. They had a golden opportunity to maybe get back in the game or make it a game at that point, but you lost by 5, and that one series hurt you. Okay? But Geno fumbled in the red zone. Ouch. 1 of 9 on third down. That doesn't help either. That's terrible. Okay? 1 of 2 in the red zone. Like I said, Geno fumble. And then the 6 penalties. Guess Seattle's glad to have a bye week to get some things sorted out. But, yeah, not a very expected outcome for Seattle that they wanted. Which brings me to Tampa. Now, I didn't get to say this last week because I wanted to do just a simple mid-season edition for those that watched. But that Rams game, the end of that Rams game, that's sometimes what you need for a team that's been losing. And sometimes you get that one drive and all of a sudden it sparks something. Maybe this happened for the Bucs, okay? Maybe they needed that one drive to win an ugly game that the Rams game was to sort of save and shift their season, okay? Now let's get back to this game. Tom Brady mostly played well. He had the one pick in the fourth quarter late. I don't know why they were throwing to begin with, up 2 scores. And, I know their running game, they kind of almost abandoned it since they know it doesn't work. But I don't know. When I watched the game, Rachaad White, 22 carries, 105 yards. To me, he should be starting over Fournette. He provides juice. He provides a spark. He just has something that makes it go quicker for them. And I don't know if it's like speed or anything like that. But to me, he moves the ball better. And they just get better explosive plays when he's in, as opposed to Fournette, where he's just a slow, kind of a big body power back. That's just me. He did end up having a rushing touchdown, Fournette. Godwin had 6 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. Julio had 3 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. Offensive line protected well, 0 sacks. Defense, 16 points allowed. That'll win you games. Your offense put up 24. Work this game. Nelson at the fumble recovery. Devin White, 2 sacks. One of the best middle linebackers in football. All right, but now let's get to the 2 missed opportunities Tampa had. They had a missed field goal early in the game. I don't remember it was from 47 yards out. I don't think it was. It was probably longer. But it was a long field goal in a new stadium. But still took 3 points off the board. It could have been a much more comfortable lead. But the interception. There was 2. I talked about the one he had in the fourth quarter. The one with Fournette throwing. First of all, why are you getting cute when you're moving the ball so well at that point in the game? You're moving the ball well, and then you play dumb. And then you try to get cute. You're moving the ball nice. Why do you have to screw it up with a dumb play call? And I get it. You want a trick play. You want to throw Seattle off guard. But, come on, man. You really think Tom Brady's a wide receiver on that play? Really? Tariq Woolen was clearly on him. Like, why are you getting dumb and trying to be cute? Go for the knockout, man. Stop playing around and just fucking go for the knockout, man. I mean, that's the shit that bothers me. All right? I know they won, but it's just when you're moving good and then you do shit like that, it's like, why? You're moving the ball great, and then nobody goes for like the knockout. And just a golden opportunity where you could have made it a statement game that we're back. Although the outcome still says it, but imagine you would have won by more than 8. Okay? 10 and 15 on third down, that's great. 2 turnovers they got to clean up. Maybe the 1 red zone opportunity were 2 of 3 on the day. But, again, just the simplicity of the game. I don't understand why you have to get cute when you're moving the ball so well like they were, and then you just do that. I don't get it. I don't get it. Vikings and the Bills. Now, this game was fun to watch. This is definitely up there for game of the year. 100%. This game I watched real closely. I'm a Patriot fan. I'm playing both of these teams coming up. So I had to get a look for myself. Okay? Kirk Cousins was okay. 37 to 50 or 30 to 50 for 357 yards. Touchdown, 2 picks. But he was okay. Dalvin Cook, when he ran the ball, 14 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. He ran the ball pretty well. I think he had that one big run that kind of started the comeback. C.J. Hammond, a rushing touchdown. Justin Jefferson, oh my God. Guys, I mean, it sucks Cooper Kupp's out, but right now, if I'm judging so far this season, I know we mentioned Tyreek on the midseason show, but Justin Jefferson might be the best receiver in football. Outside of 2 games, he might be the best receiver in football. Okay? Big-time players make big-time plays. He did that in this game. The 4th and 18. I mean, how he snatched it out of, I think it was Dane Jackson's hands, I have no clue. Okay? But what a catch, because that is a make-or-break type play for your season. Now, I think they're going to win the division, but I'm saying that play could change the outcome from you being maybe a 2 or a 3 seed or a 4 or maybe a wild card, depending on how the season plays out. Those types of plays are key plays in a team season. That was one of those. Okay? But he had a monster day. 10 catches, 193 yards, and a touchdown. To me, I think he's easily the best receiver in football. Maybe top 2, because Tyreek Hill's having a great season too. But if I had to pick an all-pro ballot, Justin Jefferson and Tyreek are 1 and 2. Okay? Offensive line in Minnesota was a little shaky. 4 sacks allowed. Defense gave up 30. So you're asking your offense to score 31 a game. It's not great. Okay, that's the one unit in Minnesota I have questions about. I don't know if that defense is that legit. I know they got Smith and Hunter and Harrison Smith in the back end and Patrick Peterson, I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Kendricks is a good middle linebacker. I'll talk about what he did. But that's the one unit. They got playmakers, but they just give up a lot of points. All right? And when you're going to be playing against, the Philadelphias, the Dallases, the Niners, that have good offenses. But giving up that many is not really a sustainable way of winning. Okay? I'll get to what the defense did. Eric Kendricks had 2 fumble recoveries. He had the one for a touchdown that I think gave them the lead. And then the Bills marched down and forced overtime. 2 sacks. Patrick Peterson had 2 big interceptions that changed the game. And we're going to get to the Bills on the 4th down. But Patrick Peterson, guys, this guy was a top 5 corner when he came in the league. And he, had some slippage. But now, in Minnesota, he's revitalizing his career. He had 2 interceptions in a key game. And, that's big. That's big. For a position they need, Patrick Peterson stepping up, that's a great sign. But Minnesota left some opportunities on the table. They had a turnover on downs. I think it was 4th and goal, about 2-minute warning in the first half. I didn't mind the call because Buffalo's windy. You never know the conditions and stuff like that. But, again, if you want to beat a good team on the road, which they ended up doing, I didn't mind the call at the time, okay? That's why there's more to the game that happens, okay? Interception Kirk Cousins had, that was a bad one. And then the turnover on downs when it was 4th and goal at the 2. They were lucky that Buffalo botched on their own 1, and their defense made a play. They were lucky on that. But 4th and 2, why are you pushing Kirk Cousins to the left? If you're the running back, or the up back, we call it, you got to push him forward in the middle. I mean, not to the left, to the middle. I know they were clogging it, but you got to get him over in the middle, okay? The middle is where you want to go, not the edges. You got guys there, you got guys there. No. Okay? 1 of 4 in the red zone. They got to clean that up. 7 penalties they got to clean up for 64 yards, 2 turnovers. Overall, big win. 8-1, they need to be talked about. At the end of the day, they need to be talked about at 8-1. Now that Philadelphia lost, I want to hear more about Minnesota because they just went into Buffalo, who are the Super Bowl favorites, and beat them in their park. They're legit to me. They're legit. Which brings me to the Bills. Now, big picture. Josh Allen, for now, is out of the MVP conversation. He might be top 5, but he's not the driver's seat no more. Okay? And I'm going to explain why. I didn't talk about the Jets game. He did not play well that game. We talked about Miami on the show. They didn't play well that game. This game and the second half of Green Bay didn't play well either. So let's judge this for a second. So over the last 11 quarters, because we're counting overtime as one, he has not played well by MVP standards. Okay? 29 of 43 this game, 330 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Sean McDermott going for it on 4th and goal. Take the points, okay? Take the points. We're having a completely different conversation if you take the points and go up 2 scores. Instead, you give the Vikings more confidence and you give them more fuel to where everything goes their way. They got a big play. They stay alive in the game. No, you got cute and thought, okay, we can score. Instead of just being simple and taking your points and still making the pressure back on them. Nope. Nope, you gave Minnesota the spark that they needed on defense. Why Patrick Peterson's a great corner. Okay? But Josh Allen, let's be honest, in the three losses and the second half of Green Bay, and I'll even include the first half against the Ravens, he has not been MVP standards through 9 weeks. I'm sorry. He is not. Okay? Everybody's saying Mahomes is the favorite now, and I thought Jalen Hurts would win the MVP, but we'll get to the Eagles in a little bit. But right now, Josh Allen's not the MVP favorite right now. Not these last 3 losses, and not the Buffalo second half against Green Bay and the first half against Baltimore. I'm sorry, that's not MVP standards by me. Nope. Singletary had 2 rushing touchdowns. Stephon Diggs had 12 catches for 128 yards. He had a nice catch, too, in that game that gets completely overlooked with Jefferson's catch. Gabe Davis, 6 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Defense got 4 sacks. Gave up 27. Okay. Yes, their offense could definitely put up 28 if they wanted to. But that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes you're going to have to do your job on defense. Granted, they did their job in the first half, but second half, Bills' defense imploded too. Okay? They did get 4 sacks, though, but here's where I'm going to get on them. I forgot to mention they also had 2 picks. Now here's where I'm going to get on the Bills. The fumble by Singletary in Minnesota territory, that's big. Could have been a drive, they get points. The 2 picks, the one in the fourth quarter and then the one at overtime, essentially were the difference in that game. Both by Josh Allen and both to Patrick Peterson. Okay? Turnovers bite you so bad in the ass you have no clue. Until the game's over, you realize those plays bit you. Okay? 7 of 13 on third down, it's great. 3 of 6 in the red zone, they got to clean that stuff up. 6 opportunities and you cash in 3 times. Not gonna work. 7 penalties for 64 yards, 4 turnovers. The Bills got to clean this shit up. I saw the forecast going into Cleveland. I'll talk about that when we give the picks, but the Bills got some work to do. They have not looked good these last 11 quarters. You get the point. Lions and the Bears. Jared Goff was okay. Jamal Williams ran the ball well. 16 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown. DeAndre Swift coming back from injury. He had a rushing touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 10 catches, 119 yards. Wright had a touchdown. But that defense, oh my God, they're horrible still, okay? Literally, I said it on Guarantee It's. If you see the Lions, take the over. Except the Green Bay game. That was bad, all right? That was a bad pick. But 30 points allowed they gave up. Okuda had the 20-yard pick six difference in the game when we look at it, okay? 3 sacks they were able to get on Justin Fields. 3 of 5 in the red zone is pretty good, but they eked out a 1-point win. They eked it out. But they got their first road win, I heard, in 2 years. Good for them. Which brings me to the Bears. Now, again, I know I didn't recap the games last week, but Justin Fields, since that Commanders game, he just keeps getting better and better and better. It feels like he's breaking records every week, okay? Except his team is not surrounded properly. But me and Vin, we said it last week. The future in Chicago looks pretty bright, especially after Sunday, despite a 1-point loss. 12 of 20, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. 13 carries for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. What they have done from the debacle against my team on Monday night when they just destroyed my team in Foxborough, from that point on to where we are now, the Bears have been a different team, okay? And they've been a different offense, and we're seeing some of the stuff that the Ravens did and the Eagles are doing with Hurts, what the Bears are doing with Justin Fields. If only in the coming years they can surround him with an offensive line and a defense and receivers. My God, the Bears are going to be a nice future if they don't mess it up. We mentioned $100 million in cap space next year, a ton of draft picks. Future's bright, okay? So, running game, 35 times they ran it for 258 yards, 7.4 yards per carry. Okay, they may have the worst record in the NFC, but they know what they are. They're a running football team. 7.4 yards per carry is insane. Okay? So you know when you play the Bears, you're going to have to stop the run. And good luck. Because they're rolling these last 3 games. All right? Cole Kmet, 4 catches, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney had 4 catches for 57 yards. The offensive line is the one thing right now they got to figure out something. They gave up 3 sacks allowed, but it's probably mostly a run blocking line. Defense gave up 25. I'm not counting the pick 6 because that's not on the Bears defense. That's more the Lions, getting points. You understand what I'm saying. Sanborn had 2 sacks. They had no takeaways, though. But the turnover on downs, the last drive of the game, was a big difference. They needed a field goal, and they couldn't get it. I know Santos missed the extra point. That I can't explain. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. 6 of 11 on 3rd down, that's great. 2 of 3 in the red zone. Oh, man, if you had got that one opportunity in a 1-point loss, it could be having something different. 1 turnover, 9 penalties for 86 yards. They got some work to do, but again, this is a young team. They have a nice future. Okay, they really, really do. It's just not this season that they're going to make the noise. It's down the road. When all that draft capital and cap space, what they do with it. Okay? That's the bottom line. Broncos and the Titans. I'm not going to really spend time on this because I think we all know what Denver is and we all know what Tennessee is, right? Okay? Wilson, he looked all right. 21 of 42 for 286 yards, a touchdown and a pick. We all know they can't score. The run game was a no-show. I know Virgil had the 66-yard touchdown. Sutton had 6 catches for 66 yards. Kendall Hayden had 4 catches for 62 yards. This offensive line is brutal. I mean, we saw the Niners game how brutal they were. This was equally as bad. 6 sacks allowed. Defense gives up 17. The problem is Denver can't score. 10 points. They can't score. Their defense can play great. Their offense can't score. Okay? With a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Which makes it even worse. 1 sack they got. Purcell had a fumble recovery. The interception by Wilson was the difference in the ball game. It was the difference. Okay? He turned it over when he needed to make a play, and he failed. Okay? 4-17 on 3rd down. Horrible. 8 penalties. What do we know about Nathaniel Hackett's teams? They commit a lot of penalties. 1 turnover. Denver, face it. You guys suck. Week 1, I knew there were some major flags. And now, I know this team's not going anywhere. What a disappointment for them, and we're mentioning them later as well. Another team in that division. Okay? Brutal. Which brings me to the Titans. Tannehill was good. The running game really didn't do much because Denver's defense is just really good. But Tannehill did step it up. Westbrook-Akina, 5 catches, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. The defense did get 6 sacks. That's big for them. 18 quarterback hits. Oh, my God. Yes, it's not a misprint. It's actually a written stat. 18 quarterback hits the Titans had on Russell Wilson. 18! Wow. 18. Mind-blowing, I know. Terrence Mitchell had the game-winning interception. 1 or 2 in the red zone. You know, they'll clean that up. 9 penalties for 60 yards. Vrabel's a good coach. They're going to get that stuff fixed. But this was a very rare win. Tennessee wins without their run game being a factor. That's a good sign for them. Jaguars and the Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence was good. 29 of 40, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. Running game was okay. ETN had some nice plays, but they abandoned it because obviously when you play Kansas City, you know they're going to have to score, and you're going to have to match score for score with them. Jacksonville's just not built that way right now. Okay? Christian Kirk had 9 catches, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zay Jones had 8 catches for 68 yards. They got some nice receivers that are not the biggest of names, except for Christian Kirk because he's getting $20 million a year. But Evan Ingram's not bad, okay? But they're not big receivers, but they're nice complementary pieces to build around Lawrence. But that offensive line is brutal still, okay? 5 sacks allowed. Defense gave up 27. What did I say on guarantees? They can't stop a cold or a runaway train. That's what the Lions are too. So put the Lions and Jaguars in the same boat, okay? I know they had 2 fumble recoveries. They got no sacks, though. Cisco had an INT. 2 missed field goals. Now, if it was within 6, these are big deals. But the fact that it was 10, it still would have been a 4-point outcome, even if they made it. But just, again, missed opportunities that maybe just could make the game different than what we're talking about today. 2 of 3 in the red zone, 4 of 14 on third down. That could get cleaned up. I mean, the red zone wasn't bad, but that one opportunity you could have really used. 5 penalties. They got to get some work done, Jacksonville. Like I said, I'm not expecting them to go anywhere. We gave Tennessee the division, week 7 already? I'm not backing off that. Which brings me to the Chiefs. Don't get me started, Chief bandwagons, about, we should, talk about the impressive win. It's Jacksonville. It's Jacksonville. Okay? You should be Jacksonville. You should have put 20-something up on them. They're horrible for a reason. Calm down. Okay? Mahomes was good. 26-35 for 331, 4 touchdowns, interception. The media's giving him the MVP. Go ahead. You can give him the MVP. All I want to see now is what happens come postseason. Because we know they're going to get in. We know they're going to win the division by default. I want to see now in the postseason when all the big boys come out, and I want to see if they're ready. Because nobody knows what this new look offense, but now Tyreek's gone, and Kelsey's only getting older, so we're going to see how this new offense is going to be put to the test, okay? I've seen some slippage. I have. But I can't wait for when you play the big boys. Like I said, I'm just going to sit back and wait. Enjoy your little win against Jacksonville. Enjoy the media constantly praising Mahomes for midseason MVP. Okay, but there's a reason there's no official award for midseason MVP. So go ahead. Let the media have it for now. Trust me. Let's see come postseason time what happens. Okay? Pacheco ran the ball well. Kelsey, 6 catches, 81 yards and a touchdown. Valdez-Scaling, 2 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Actually, 3 catches, my fault. Tony, 4 catches for 57 yards. Gray had a touchdown. Defense got 5 sacks, 17 points allowed. The fumble in the red zone prevented a blowout. And then the interception by Mahomes. 7 of 10 on third down's great. But 3 turnovers against Jacksonville. 3. What are we going to do about that? They'll get it cleaned up. But the signs are slowly showing me that they can be beat. They're not a clear runaway to win the AFC. Oh, no. Not like they were the last couple of years. No. There's other teams that can beat them this year. Just sit back and wait. Okay? Cleveland and Miami. Jacoby Brissett was okay. Nick Chubb, 11 carries, 63 yards and a touchdown. Peoples-Jones stepping up for Amari Cooper. 5 catches, 99 yards. Harrison Bryant had a touchdown. Offensive line was shaky against Miami. I know they added Bradley Chubb and they got Jalen Phillips and they got Wilkins in the middle. 3 sacks though, but they're a run blocking line because they like to run the ball. They're not a pass blocking line. Okay? Defense had 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, no takeaways. So the Browns defense is only good against their division rivals. That's what we're saying right now. Through 9 weeks. Think about that. The Cleveland defense is disappointed. All right? They have not been very good this year. Outside of Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Just a fact. Okay? Again, let's go to the missed opportunities. 3 turnover on downs, and then they had the fumble. I don't know if Deshaun Watson's going to make that much of a difference because maybe it's not this year, but maybe next year when he has a full offseason to get to know Amari and Chubb and the guys that he'll be around. But I don't know what's up with Cleveland, but this defense is bad. And I don't think Amari Cooper's just going to be the one player that helps Cleveland go from cellar to division winner when you've got Burrow and Lamar in the division. I'm sorry. But, again, and how do we know Watson's going to be at a top level when he gets back? Again, Cleveland just, there's something wrong with them I can't figure out. Maybe they're just not, all I can say is they're just not a great defense. Okay? 6 penalties, 1 or 2 in the red zone, 1 turnover. I mean, just the Browns are just not very good. And I said that I would have had them maybe 11 or 12 in the AFC. I wouldn't have put them like 14th. Not like that clown who put my team 14th best team in the AFC. Oh, I'm just sitting back. But I said we're better than some of those teams. But again, I said Cleveland was one of them. Now you realize? See, I see it a mile away. I knew Cleveland wouldn't be good with Brissett at quarterback. They'd be just okay. 10 games in, we kind of know that. Which brings me to Miami. Tua looked great. I'm not going to go as far to say MVP candidate, unlike some people are. And honestly, if you want to say he's MVP candidate, go right ahead. I don't agree with that. I mean, he definitely will be top 3, top 5 right now. Now, I want to see with that back half of the schedule. If he plays well against those teams, then there's a case. But I don't think he wins it. I don't. Unless Mahomes shits the bed, which I don't think he will. Okay? But Tua's look good. 25 to 32, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, it's the Browns. We all know they're not a great defense, but he's been playing good. Jeff Wilson really ran the ball well. 17 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 4 catches for 66 yards. Sherfield had 4 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. Ingold had 4 for 45 and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill didn't get 100 yards. 5 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. What do you know? He didn't get 100 yards, Tyreek. But he still got his way in the end zone. Defense gave up 17. That's great. 3 sacks. 14 quarterback hits. Xavier Howard had a fumble recovery. And they were 6 out of 11 on 3rd down. That's great. Overall, Miami, you beat a team you were supposed to beat. Now they can be very confident going into the bye week. And like I said, this stretch that Miami's on right now, they're beating winnable teams. I want to see how they do in the back half, the closing stretch, because those teams are not easy winnable games. Oh no. We know they can score. The question is, can that defense stop some of those teams? I don't know if they can. Still remains suspect. Texans and the Giants. Did I not guarantee this game? I said this was a guarantee. And I stand 100% corrected. Davis Mills was okay. Damian Pierce ran the ball well. He did fumble. 17 carries, 94 yards. Nico Collins has been a nice receiver that's stepping up for them without Brandon Cooks. I know he played last Sunday, but Nico Collins has been really good for them lately. Offensive line, 4 sacks allowed. They got 20-something draft picks in 2 years to get all that roster put together. So, hopefully line is one of those options. Defense gave up 24. They got 3 sacks. No takeaways, however. They had the fumble and the INT. Again, Davis Mills loves throwing red zone or opponent territory picks. Where you're at the Giants, whatever it was, I think 30, something like that, he throws a pick. He just loves throwing it in drives that are going well, and then right when you get close, throws a pick. All right? 3 of 10 on third down, trash. 1 of 6 in the red zone. Major work there. 7 penalties and 2 turnovers. Now, one rule that I will have going forward is when you're out of the playoffs in lounge time, we don't talk about you the rest of the year. Okay? Unless it's a big headline that we have to talk about it. But once you're out of the playoffs, rule number 1 in lounge time, once you're out of the playoffs, we don't talk about you no more. Texans are heading down that path. Okay? Which brings me to the Giants. Daniel Jones was good at managing the game. That's what Dayball and them want him to do. Saquon Barkley, they're giving it to the best player on the team. 35 carries, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. A touchdown, my fault. Darius Slayton, 3 catches, 95 yards and a touchdown. Lawrence Cager had a touchdown. Offensive line still shaky. I want to see them against Dallas on Thanksgiving. Okay? They did give up 3 sacks allowed. Defense gave up 16. They got 4 sacks. That works. 12 quarterback hits. Again, third time I've talked about a team with double-digit QB hits. Belton had a pick. Jalen Smith had a fumble recovery. And they were 50% on third down. 7 of 14. That's pretty damn great. All right? Which brings me to the Saints and the Steelers. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to double down on this. Andy Dalton isn't very good. He isn't very good. I don't know why they haven't gone back to Jameis yet, but Monday night he looked horrible against the Ravens, and this game he looked even worse against the rebuilding Steelers team. For a team that I thought would make the playoffs. This is embarrassing. Okay? Preseason, I picked them to make the playoffs. That was horrible. Running game was a no-show. Juwan Johnson had a receiving touchdown. Defense gave up 20 points. That works if your offense can score, but they can't score. So 20 points, it's not their fault. It's the offense's fault, but 20 is a doable number to get away with and win. 6 sacks. They got 0 takeaways, though. 3 of 12 on third down. That's fucking awful. Awful. 10 penalties and 2 turnovers. If it weren't for the Raiders and the Broncos, Saints are the most disappointing team of this year in my eyes. They are by far the most disappointing team. But you could argue the Rams. I wouldn't be mad at that, but the Saints are up there. This is disappointing for a team that I thought would be at least a playoff team. They are not a playoff team right now. They're not. Which brings me to the Steelers. Kenny Pickett was good. He had a rushing touchdown. He was taking care of the ball, didn't make mistakes. Good sign. Gets a very good defense. Okay? Najee Harris ran the ball well. 20 carries for 99 yards. George Pickens even had a 22-yard rushing touchdown. Offensive line, though, well, Pittsburgh, I'm glad you found your need going into the draft because you need O-line badly. 6 sacks allowed? Yikes. Alex Highsmith, 2 sacks. TJ Watt came back. That's a good sign. Defense gave up 10 points. They got 2 picks. That's good. That's very good. 9 of 17 on third down. That's great. 2 of 5 in the red zone could use a little work. But again, a win I'm not surprised actually happened. Nice win for the Steelers at home. Colts and the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh my goodness. Jeff Saturday won his first head coaching job. Okay? It just still mind boggles me. Okay? It's mainly for the Raiders, but we'll get to that. And Matt Ryan, he was actually good. 21 of 28 for 222 yards. He had a touchdown passing. He actually had a long run that somehow the internet broke when it happened. I didn't watch it, but I just heard the internet broke when Matt Ryan had that long run. He did actually have a rushing touchdown in that game. Jonathan Taylor, 22 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Clearly their best offensive player. Paris Campbell had 7 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Defense gave up 20. That works. If your offense can consistently put up over 20, They managed to get 2 sacks. They didn't get a takeaway, though. They had the fumble and the missed field goal. That's stuff they can work on. But they were lucky to win by 6. 6 of 11 on third down is great. They had the 1 turnover they'll clean up. The red zone offense, they were 1 for 2. Not bad, but still some work. Which brings me to the Vegas Raiders. Now, Josh McDaniels, we clearly believe he's a great play caller. But as a head coach, I just don't think that he's going to last long in Vegas. I know Mark Davis came out publicly to support him and said, I love Josh. He's my guy. There's a reason we did this extensive search. Yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, you guys are 2-7. Okay? This offense, I don't know why they're not scoring in the high 20s to low 30s, I should say. My fault. But something's wrong here. And I said the one Achilles heel I had with them is their defense. Their defense actually played okay, not great. But somebody has to tell me why that offense is not scoring like they should. Okay? Derek Carr was okay. The fact that he has to come to the media and get emotional, calling out his own guys that are not bought in and that don't work hard and put the effort in like he does, is a huge eyebrow raise. Okay? Because what that tells me is not everybody's bought in, not everybody's all in on what's going on, and that's a reflection of this season where they've had 3 leads of 17 plus points and they've blown all 3 of those games. And then you add this, which makes it even worse. That's a big problem. Okay? So there's something going on there that maybe isn't coming out yet, but that's glaring. Okay? Josh Jacobs, 21 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. He runs the ball well. Now, the running game outside of Josh Jacobs, they can't get a guy to get above a yard a carry. That's how bad their run game is outside of Josh Jacobs. Okay? Devontae Adams had 9 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Foster Moreau had a touchdown. The defense, they were okay. I don't think they played well when we get to the stat line. 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 25 points allowed. The only guy to post a sack and a quarterback hit on the team, Max Crosby, who's their best defensive player. Shame, 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 shame. Jayon Brown had a fumble recovery, 2 turnover on downs, 5 of 13. Not very good. 2 of 3 in the red zone. You lost by 6. That one red zone opportunity is going to hurt. 10 penalties for 74 yards. The Raiders and the next team we're going to talk about are just penalties and turnover-prone teams. That's what they are. Cowboys and the Packers. This game I watched very closely myself a little bit. Dak Prescott did not impress. At some point, Dak Prescott's got to be the guy. And right now, when we look at the NFC and what certain guys have accomplished, there's a reason we talk about those guys and then the second or third tier, Dak's there. At some point, Dak needs to step up and win against the teams he has to beat. And every time he keeps playing the elite names, he keeps coming up small. Okay? And this was a game, you could have changed that. But instead, it's the same narrative we're going to have about Dak Prescott. He cannot beat the big name guys when he has to beat them. He can't. 27 to 46, 265 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 1 people say it was on CeeDee Lamb, but the one in the red zone we're going to talk about in a little bit. That's on him. I'm sorry. Tony Pollard, I said should be starting over Zeke. 22 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown. I still stand by that. CeeDee Lamb had a great game. 11 catches, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Outside of the one play that he should have went outside and not, try to go inside where the receiver jams him, But we all know the play. Dalton Schultz, 6 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Defense, they blew a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. I got to know where Micah Parsons was because I didn't hear a lot of him. I know he played a lot of linebacker, I heard. But still, if you're that guy, you got to make a play that, to kind of make sure that thing doesn't fall apart. Instead, the defense just collapsed in the fourth quarter. 14-point lead blown in the fourth quarter. 31 points allowed. I know they had 2 sacks. They had the fumble recovery. The fourth down for Mike McCarthy, I'm not going to blame him entirely on that because I feel like he knew at that point the defense could not stop Rodgers. But I don't know what went on. I know there was a lot of pressure and Dak was starting to run to the left a little bit and the pocket collapsed around him. But 4th and 3, you got to have a better play than that. Okay? I'm just surprised. 3 or 4 in the red zone. Again, when you lose, that one missed opportunity in the red zone hurts you. Okay? 9 penalties, 83 yards, 2 turnovers. Dallas, I said it early in the year when you played the Commanders and you played the Rams. If you play a penalty-free game and you don't turn it over, you can make a deep run. Instead, you're going back to the same team that they've always been. Dumb penalties, bad timing turnovers, and they bite you in the ass at the worst times. And that's what the Dallas Cowboys are, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the Cowboys are. Which brings me to the Packers. Rodgers was good, not really great. In this game, he didn't have to be great. He had to be good. Okay? Aaron Jones, 24 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. A.J. Dillon had 13 carries, 65 yards. Green Bay knows what they are. They're a running football team that just needs Rodgers to make a couple throws a game to help them be a chance. But I think they found their formula a little too late. Christian Watson had the game of his life. 4 catches, 107 yards, 3 touchdowns. Compared to what he was early in the year to now is a huge step. Okay? Defense gave up 28. Rudy Ford had 2 interceptions that were the game changer in all retrospective. The one in the red zone took points off the board for Dallas. And then the one with CeeDee Lamb, he makes a nice play. Instead of CeeDee Lamb doing what he should be doing on the route. Okay? 2 sacks they were able to get. 6 of 13 on 3rd down. That's great. 6 penalties, 2 turnovers. Again, they weren't perfect in the red zone, 2 of 3, but not bad. Okay? Not bad. Cardinals and the Rams. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because this is the backup quarterback bowl, and I don't think that either team will make a serious run. Okay? Colt McCoy was okay. James Conner, 21 carries, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins, 10 catches, 98 yards. Rondale Moore, 9 catches, 94 yards. Defense did a good job, held him 17 points. 3 sacks. I think 2 of them were by J.J. Watt because he had a fumble recovery too. 12 quarterback hits. Again, that's the 4th team with 10-plus QB hits. Budda Baker had an interception. But Cliff Kingsbury's team commits a lot of penalties, and 10's a lot. Winner or a loss. That's a lot of damn penalties. Okay? Which tells me this team is not very disciplined, and, there was issues early in the year about not practicing hard. Maybe you're just not very good. Granted, you beat a team with a backup quarterback when you had your backup of your own. Not that impressed. Still don't think they're going to go far. Okay? Which brings me to the Rams. I'm probably going to be man and meme today because the Rams right now sit at 3-6. Seattle sits at 6-4. And I look like an idiot saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I was wrong about the Rams. I did pick them as a wild card. They are not making the wild card. They're not. I did not think that Seattle would make the playoffs. it's looking like there's a chance they could make it. But the Rams are not going anywhere. Cooper Kupp's now hurt. Stafford's still in protocol. The defense is not the same. The all-in strategy caught up to them, where their roster is so thin that what is going wrong for them. What a difference a year makes. But today I am wrong. Today I am saying that I've officially lost my quote-unquote actual, how do I put this? actual prediction of the Rams making the playoffs over Seattle. I am officially wrong on that. And that's it. I am not changing anything on that. I am wrong. I'm saying it right now. Yep, I'm wrong. John Wolford was not that good. Darrell Henderson got a rushing touchdown. Van Jefferson caught a touchdown. Offensive line, 3 sacks allowed. Need I add more to the Rams' problems this year? I mean, they are brutal. Offensive line-wise. Okay? They got no takeaways on defense. They gave up 27 points. 2 sacks. Okay? They had the fumble and interception as their lone missed opportunities. They were 3 of 11 on third down. Awful. 2 turnovers. 5 penalties. This is just a very, very bad football team at this moment. On paper, they're stacked. But they're just a bad, bad football team this year by the way they've performed. I have to own that. But I'm wrong. They're not making the playoffs. Seattle might end up finishing better than them. And they will. So, kudos. Chargers and the Niners. Justin Herbert was not that good. I'm sorry, he did not play that well. Granted, it's a great defense in the Niners, but he wasn't very good this game. 21 of 35 for 196, a touchdown and a pick. Running game did not do much. DeAndre Carter had 4 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. They gave up 3 sacks to Justin Herbert. Day 2 of the injury bug. 22 points allowed the defense gave up. They had only 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery. 0 for 1 in the red zone. You lost by 6 points. If you cash that in, we're having a different conversation. 1 turnover. The difference in the ballgame. Granted, I don't care if they were backed up at their own 2, 9, whatever it was. They turned it over, and there's a lot of problems the Chargers had in this game. Okay? Which brings me to the Niners. I'm going to tell you exactly why they're going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Because Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have to play great football. He has to play good football. He was okay. He had a rushing touchdown. But they have a running game with Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey that I think is going to keep the defense off balance. And the things you can do with Christian McCaffrey make him an even bigger problem in the passing game. To complement a Deebo Samuel. To complement a George Kittle. To complement a Brandon Ayuk. Okay? To put the defense guessing which guy's going to have the best matchup. With a very good offensive line. Okay? Speaking of Brandon Ayuk. Well, actually, let me share the numbers of Elijah Mitchell and C-Max combined. 32 carries, 127 yards, and a touchdown combined between Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey. Okay? Brandon Ayuk, 6 catches, 84 yards. The defense, they are playing at an elite level. 16 points allowed. They got 3 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. Talanoa Hufanga had the INT to steal the game. They were 9 of 17 on third down. That's great. 2 of 5 in the red zone could use some work. 5 penalties is not that bad, but they could tone it down a little bit. 1 turnover they got to clean up. But if this team can overcome the bad coaching that Kyle Shanahan does in the postseason, this roster could win the Super Bowl. Okay? If Kyle Shanahan just can finally put a game where he doesn't choke on the biggest stage, they can win. But it comes down to him. They have the talent, and obviously Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have to play great football. He has to play good football for them to win. Okay? He's gotten to 2 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl for a reason. Okay? Not everybody has to be the Rodgers, the Bradys, the Mahomes, the Joe Burrows. Sometimes the guys like Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, they're not good. They weren't good quarterbacks, but they managed the game to where they did the job. And that's what Jimmy's got to do. Plain and simple. Okay? Commanders and the Eagles. What a game to close out the week. Taylor Heineke played okay. He had some nice plays. Really, McLaurin had some big plays to help him with them. Okay, Brian Robinson had a monster day. 26 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown. If you guys don't know what happened to him in the offseason, I suggest you look that up. It's amazing that he had this game and he was able to bounce back from that. Kudos to him. Antonio Gibson had a rushing touchdown. Terry McLaurin, 8 catches, 128 yards. Not a big name receiver, but he should be talked about it as the fact that he's a very good receiver. It just so happens he happens to play for the Commanders and not the Bucs or the Chiefs. He plays for the Commanders. If he was on a big name team, he'd be getting a lot more attention. But he's not. But he's a very good receiver. Offensive line did give up 3 sacks. The defense held Philly to 21. Not bad. Okay? They did get 3 fumble recoveries. They got 1 sack. Tua had the 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown to make it within double digits. Forrest had the interception. 12 of 21 on third down. 12 of 21 on third down. That's over 50%. That's great. In undefeated Phillies home park. And you beat them. But the 2 turnovers and the 5 penalties got to get cleaned up. Overall, the 2 biggest divisions that are the toughest divisions right now and the most impressive divisions are the AFC East and the NFC East. Should be fun to watch those division races play out. Okay? And how many teams make the playoffs from each side of that? Big win for the Commanders. Big win. And Heineke starting next week. I like it. Might have changed my pick. Okay? Jalen Hurts was okay. Running game was okay. I felt like they abandoned it a little bit because Washington was, clamping it up. And, I don't know. I just felt like Philly abandoned the running game too soon. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert had a touchdown each. Quez Watkins had 4 catches, 80 yards. He did have the fumble that gave Washington life. Defense, though, they didn't play their best game. They did give up 26 points allowed. They were able to get 3 sacks. They had a fumble recovery on Heineke early in the game. They had an interception, I think, in the 4th quarter. That was not really a great play by Heineke, but, again, they weren't able to capitalize it off on offense. 5 of 8 on third down. That's great. The only problem is that 7 penalties. The one late in the game on Brandon Graham, I know that he didn't mean to do it, and I know that, it wasn't, worthy of that, some people say. But at the end of the day, if you know the official's going to call it, don't do it. Yet he did it anyway. Okay? 7 penalties. Not very good. 4 turnovers, too. Let's add that in. 4 turnovers. Another reason why you lost the game. 4 turnovers. That's not going to help you win. But here's an underrated stat I caught during the broadcast. I know this is an overrated stat. I've never mentioned this on this show, but we're going to bring it up for the first time. 40-19 in time of possession. 40 minutes the Commanders had the ball to 19 for the Eagles. Okay, so there's 60 minutes in the ball game. 40 of 60 is about 2/3, right? I'm not a math major, but that's 66% of the game the Commanders had the ball. Washington found something that could be the blueprint. Maybe keep them off this field. Now the real test. is Philly the best team in the NFC? Because there's some games coming up that they could lose now. And look what Washington just did. They might have found the blueprint to where they look vulnerable. We're going to find out coming up in November and December and even January. We're going to find out if the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. All right, so that's the recap of Rich segment for Week 10 games. Let's get to the Week 11 picks, shall we? Starts tomorrow night. Packers and the Titans. Some key starters for the Titans are out this game. I know Amani Hooker's out. I forgot some of the other guys I was reading today. Some of the key starters are out for the Titans. But again, I just have a sneaky feeling Green Bay is going to win this game. I know everybody's saying they're coming off a big win against Dallas at home in overtime. I got that. But Tennessee, to me, there's only one way they want to win. And that's run the football. There's only one way they want to win. It's running the football. Green Bay can stop the run. Well, they couldn't stop it against Dallas, but this is going to be an interesting game. I'm going to take the Packers 27-20. I think Aaron Rodgers can win at home. I think that those young receivers, Lazard and Watson and those young cats, somebody's going to find some rapport, and I think one of those guys is due for a big game. All right? Jones, Dillon, they might not impact so much in the running game because Tennessee's a stout run defense, but I think that Jones and some of those guys, somebody's due to have that big game, and I would rather have Rodgers over Tannehill. So give me the Packers 27, the Titans 20. Bears and the Falcons. Let's see. Atlanta couldn't stop the run against the Panthers, and yet the Bears are coming in as the number one rushing attack maybe in football. Isn't the wrong team favored here? I think so. Bears are rolling. Falcons, not so much. Upset. Give me the Bears. 31-21 over the Falcons. Bills and the Browns. No, the sky is not falling. The Bills will be fine. If they lose to Cleveland and Detroit, then the sky is falling. They won't lose to Cleveland or Detroit, okay? In fact, I'll give you the score right now. Give me the Bills 41-17 over the Browns. Cleveland's defense can't stop anybody. Join the Jaguars and the Lions as the worst defenses in football. Cleveland's up there. So give me the Bills 41, the Browns 17. Eagles and the Colts. I'm not going to make too much of an overreaction. I don't think Jeff Saturday is going to win 2 games in a row. Okay? I know the Colts sure can run the football with Jonathan Taylor, but I think short week, Philly wants to get their bad taste out of their mouth. I think they're going to get after Matt Ryan. I'm not sold that much on the Colts making a deep run. I think Philly bounces back. They win 28-13 over the Colts. I don't really want to add much more to that game. 28-13 Eagles over the Colts. My Patriots taking on the Jets. Okay. I'm sticking by this. I don't think we're making the playoffs. But if we're going to make a run, it's time to play some big boy football. And time to not be afraid to go play the big boys coming up on our schedule. Whether they're home, whether they're away, whether they're in another thing. You know the point. This is time for us to play big boy football and get ready to beat the good teams. You want to make a run? You beat the teams you got to beat. There's a ton of good teams, and it's time for us to make a run, hopefully. I don't think we will, but I got pride, damn it, so I'm going to take my team 27-14 over the Jets. I don't feel good about it, I don't. But, again, there's no way Bill is going to let the Jets beat him at home. No way, okay? I know the Jets are improving, yes. Do you really think Bill Belichick's going to let the Jets beat him at home? You remember the last time that happened? I do. Didn't end very well. Did not end very well. Trust me, the one team he hates losing to is Jets. I don't think the Jets beat New England and Foxborough. I don't. I know my team's got issues, There's one team he wants to beat so bad. That's the Jets. Give me the New England 27, the Jets 14. All right? Rams and the Saints. Could we argue this is the life support bowl? No, because both teams are basically in that scenario. But either way, this is the most disappointing teams bowl, yes. I'm going to take the Rams if Matt Stafford's healthy. Again, Dennis Allen said he's sticking with Dalton. I'm going to go with the Rams 20-16 over the Saints. Giants and the Lions. Okay, we know the Lions can't stop the run. What are the Giants going to do? Run the ball at Saquon. I think this is easy. Give me the Giants 34, the Lions 21. What do the Lions have that can beat the Giants? They could score, but all the Giants are going to do is blitz Goff, and they're going to run Saquon because the Lions can't stop a runaway train or they can't stop a cold. So give me the Giants 34, the Lions 21. Ravens and Panthers. Baker against the Ravens. No way an upset happens. Nope. Ravens have almost 2 weeks off. Carolina's got 10 days off. I'm going with the Ravens, 30-10 over the Panthers. I just trust Lamar over Baker Mayfield, and I think the Ravens are clearly a better team. So give me the Ravens 30, the Panthers 10. Commanders and Texans. Possible preview for guarantees. Washington's coming off a big emotional win in Philly. Texans had a bad week in Giants. They're home, though. Granted, they're the worst run defense in the league. Washington can run the ball now. But do I think they're going to cover? I'll save that for guarantees. But I'm going to take Washington to win the game. However, I would not be surprised if the Texans pull off an upset. I would not be surprised. But I'll take Washington 23, Washington 23, the Texans 21. Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos. One game I'm glad I will not be watching. Give me the Vegas Raiders 26, the Broncos 17. Raiders can score, Broncos can't. I know the Raiders defense is shaky, but Denver's offense can score. Denver's defense is good, but Vegas will put up just enough points to win the game. I think they'll get 26. I got Denver 17. So, Raiders win in Denver. Vikings Cowboys, another game I'm a little worried about. I seen Dallas was favored by 1 this morning. It's moved up to 1.5. But a lot can change between now and guaranteed. I'm going to go with the Vikings 28-24 over the Cowboys. I think Dallas, for some weird reason, when it's not good teams, they just disappoint. It happened last year. Okay? I don't know if they're going to be able to beat Minnesota with Prescott, who hasn't looked good since the injury, since coming back. The defense, I feel like, will be able to make a couple plays on Kirk Cousins, but at the end of the day, I don't know if Trayvon Diggs is going to be able to hang with Justin Jefferson. And Dalvin Cook, they're running the ball at him more. Give me the Vikings 28, the Cowboys 24. Bengals Steelers. TJ Watt's back. I know the Steelers beat him in Cincinnati week 1. But this is a different Cincinnati team compared to what week 1 was. Okay? I believe Cincinnati goes into Pittsburgh and wins because I feel like the Bengals are not great on defense, but they're going to do just enough to help them win. And that offense, depending on if Jamar Chase gets back, I still think Mixon, Boyd, Higgins, somebody's going to step up. Give me the Bengals 31, the Steelers 17. Chiefs and the Chargers in Chargers. Here we go. Last time these two teams met, it was 27-24. Herbert threw a big pick 6. Chiefs won the game on that. But the Chargers, again, this is all hinging on if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are going to play. They're banged up everywhere we look, the Chargers are. And I'm sorry, I don't think they could beat Kansas City. If they had all those guys healthy, I would say, yeah, they could. But no, I don't. Give me the Chiefs 30. Give me the Chargers 27. Niners and Cardinals. This doesn't change my pick even if Kyler Murray's playing. So, give me the Niners 30-13. I trust Kyle Shanahan over Cliff Kingsbury. The Niners are the better team. Arizona's not very good. 30-13, Niners over the Cardinals. Those are my Week 11 picks. Like I said, that's basically how we do things. We got recaps. We got the picks. Now, you get to enjoy football on Sunday. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell. Hit that subscribe button. Okay? So you guys can follow us every single week when we give you guys updates, whether it's Guarantee It's, whether it's new episodes, just to stay up to date all throughout the NFL season. So make sure you hit subscribe and notification button so where you can get all the updates you need. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll see you guys next week on the next episode of Lounge Time. Have a good night, everybody.